What's wrong with? Ah, hello.
Hi. How's everybody doing tonight?
Welcome to We Have No Idea What We're Doing.
Digit, please don't chew on that.
Except, cats.
They've been really good all day.
Yeah, so they decided now's the time to not be.
Seriously? Did you see Billy? And Jack's just like...
Hello, hello. Good morning, guys. The end.
Morning.
Yay, thank you, Oscar Wolf.
Say hello to Jack. He's part of this whole thing. Apparently today. Look at you, Jack. There you are. I can't turn it anymore. Everybody gets half of a Jack. And half of a Dane.
More of a Jack is more important. Pooch!
Woohoo!
Yay, thank you, Miss Erin.
Jack, say hello to people on the screen. Say hi.
You finished Schitt's Creek? Wow.
Okay. Aww. Don't cry.
Pooch!
He is a handsome
He
boy.
very is.
He's a pain in the butt sometimes, but he's super handsome.
Also true.
What's cute is he's really good at, doing a thing in such a business-like way that we all know it's bad, but it's like he almost just convinces us it's not bad because he just does the thing in a very business-like, well, of course I do this thing.
Yeah. Like, get up on the counter.
Right. He's a very pretty, handsome boy.
And he knows it.
Yes, he does. Or he just assumes it. I'm not
I probably should sit down and finish watching it.
You probably should. You enjoyed the parts you watched.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Digit's eating right now. I hear her chewing. Alright.
It's probably paper, because that's what she does.
Right. See, it was quite a bit of room. You turned a lot. How's everybody?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I have this weird hope that if I turn it a lot, I'll get more of my desk, so I can use more of it.
You have a lot of it, it's just your drawer thing could move over. You could actually move that over a little bit.
Probably.
Doesn't have to be in the center.
I don't know what's happening.
And then you'd have more of your drawer. If you look at the little part of your desk, then, you've got plenty, it's just where your drawer, the thingy is. Yeah, I hear the 40-minute behind-the-scenes thing, where they read out, did you watch the one where they read out, tweets and emails that people have sent to them? I've seen a little bit of that. It made me want to cry, and I haven't watched the whole thing.
Hello there.
I'm very confused. Hello. Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine, how are you? Did you remember to put wall hangers on the shopping list?
I did.
Good job. Good you.
Good me.
Yay. Yay for Dane.
We were hanging arts and ran out of wall hangers. It was sad.
Well, especially with the cats, seeing things and needing to just fly across the room at them, I think that we need to make sure that they're secure.
I agree.
That and the earthquakes.
Yes.
Guys, nobody prepared me for the understanding that earthquakes have noises. Not shaking buildings make noises, but earthquakes in and of themselves make noises. I was not prepared for that. But I woke...
Hooch!
Yay, hooch, you're fine. I woke Dana up in the middle of the night the other night, and because something woke me up, and I was like, is that a truck in our yard? Like, what's happening? And then I didn't hear it, and Dana and I went back to sleep, and Dane's like, yeah, that was an earthquake. Yeah, we've had multiple quakes recently, and I don't like them.
We had 3 in one day a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, they're baby earthquakes compared to, like, what California gets, but we're not, like, our buildings aren't really meant for them. Like, it's not a thing we should be having. I don't like it. Like, and I lived in Oregon for more than a decade, and I never felt a quake there. And then we'd been in Wichita for less than a year, and we're just sitting in the car shop, waiting on our car to get fixed. And I thought that, like, they brought in like a truck or so, like something rumbled, but then it just didn't stop. Like, it kind of felt like a really big door was being opened in a garage. You know what I mean?
And we literally hadn't even quite moved to Wichita yet. Like,
right.
We were still driving back and forth.
Oh, excuse me.
When we had our first quake.
Yeah, so, and then it just didn't stop, and I was like, oh my god, this is an earthquake.
Like, everybody in the room went,
what the hell?
Do you feel that too?
So people here say that they've gotten a lot worse in the last, like, decade, because apparently there's a little fault here, but it's not, like, ever been a thing. But they started doing a bunch of fracking in Oklahoma, and we're near the Oklahoma border, and now there's a lot more earthquakes. So that's good. I'm sure that's fine. My thing is, I didn't move to Kansas with the thought that, like, earthquakes were going to wake me up in the middle of the night. That wasn't really a thought I had. By the way, I'm sorry about the sneezing and the... I was fine earlier. I think I just went out and burned some stuff in the yard before this and did some yard work. And I probably burned something I'm allergic to. So...
How very dare.
It feels... Because I was fine this morning, and it feels like allergies. So that all seems to fit. And I was outside burning things, so... That feels like science to me.
Hashtag not a scientist.
Right, exactly. Fracking. What's, you know... I'm sure it's not a problem. I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, like... There was definitely... Because the noise woke me up. Like, Dane will tell you when I'm deeply asleep, like, moving around in a bed or, like, some shaking won't wake me up. But the noise, like, I remember, and I thought it was a dream the next day, except Dane told me I woke him up and told him that. Like, but I definitely remember waking up and, like, being pretty convinced that there was, like, a semi or a large truck or train or something in our yard. Like a train of trash trucks. You know, like, you know how you can hear the trash truck go through your... A train of trash trucks? Yeah. Like, it was enough noise to awaken me. Which is a pretty good amount of noise. Because, again, I don't... Especially in my own bed, I sleep pretty deep once I'm asleep. So, yeah. No, it feels like science or sounds like science is my thing. Trash training game. Like, Dane's always, like, giving me the side eye because I'm like, no, that sounds like science, right? He's like, I'm like, it's science. It sounds like science. It's fine. But sometimes it absolutely sounds like science. Like, people that have lived here for longer than we've been alive saying, yeah, like, we've had earthquakes, like, it's a thing that has happened here, but in the last 10 years, like, we've had multiple earthquakes that I noticed, and I never really noticed it before. Like, it's definitely worse now, and the only thing that's really changed is the fracking in Oklahoma, like...
Almost 60% to hooch!
Thank you, Lightbringer Kitty.
Thank you.
Okay, what is Salisbury steak, like, in somebody's house? Because Salisbury steak at cafeteria, like school cafeterias, was the worst. And I didn't eat it. So now I'm curious, like, in real people food, what is Salisbury steak? It's a little slice of love. I mean, again, based on only what I know from the school cafeteria, it smelled like ass. It looked awful. Like, it looked like dog food. Would he, though?
Yeah, it's basically like a minute steak or a burger steak with mushroom gravy on top.
That is not at all that's not at all what they called Salisbury steak in the school cafeteria. Because I might have eaten that.
I've made you that.
Like, yeah, like a minute steak or a burger or whatever. Yeah, that all sounds great. Lunch Ladyland.
Oh yeah, I love that song.
Okay. I'll have to listen to that. I probably heard it because I've heard most of Dane's Adam Sandler music, but it's been years. No, what they called Salisbury steak was lighter in color. It sort of looked like the McDonald's McRib before you put the sauce on it. Yeah. But it was round. But it had that pressed.
Yeah.
This is not real.
Yeah, that's what you get when you get preformed patty.
And the gravy had a yellowish greenish tinge to it, well, but not in like a chicken gravy way.
That's just school lunch gravy.
Right. It had it in there's an oil slick on this and you shouldn't eat it way.
Yeah.
Right. It was like brown with an overlayer of green.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And again, like, I will be honest, like, Dane will back me up on this, I think. I eat a lot of stuff. Like, I'm not a picky eater. And I'll try most things. But I just assumed Salisbury steak was some version of that. And so I've never eaten it since. But I have had minute steaks with gravy on them. So maybe I've had it.
Just opening that link can make your stomach hurt.
Oh, no. Oh, see, that doesn't look like anything you just told me. That looks like fucked up burned meatloaf.
That does look like fucked up burned meatloaf.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't eat that either. I mean, I might if Dane made it.
It's like they made meatloaf and then fried it, pan-fried it.
Yeah. Like,
and then put it
okay, so if Dane made that, I'd probably try it because sometimes Dane accidentally burns a thing because he gets distracted, but the food underneath is still really good. So you eat around the burn parts because he can cook, he just gets distracted.
What?
But if anyone else served that, I wouldn't eat it. Because I would assume, because that looks closer to what we were, except it's darker and redder. That looks closer to what, and there's no green tinge.
This is what Etiquette's looks like.
That looks a little more hamburger-like.
How do you?
Yeah, I would try that with suspicion, but I would try it depending on who made it. There are certain people that I just don't trust enough.
Wrong account. Look fast so you can delete it.
We looked fast. Yeah, like, if it was a person that had served me decent food before, I would definitely try that. Part of it is I have a natural built up maybe suspicion of meat foods that, like, if I can't tell what it is, I'm a little like, because I had some really, really bad school lunch things when I was a child, and my mom. And those two things have given
school lunch things, but
right. Those two things gave me a lot. You've seen a little bit of it, like, and she's gotten worse, but still, there were a few episodes, and just other people. Like the Midwest will give you, if you have taste buds, will give you a suspicion if you're not careful. Like there's a lot of really great food, but then there's a lot of like things that you should be suspicious about. So. Etiquette, I actually like, and I used to ask for it for my birthday. For my birthday meal for my mom, there was like a turkey dinner that it was like a fancy, it came in a tray, but it came in family size, but it was like a TV dinner thing, and it was basically like Spam turkey, if that makes sense.
Spurky.
Like sliced turkey in gravy that was like a TV dinner, and then you made your sides. And I would ask for that because I grew up with it, and it's pretty good. Like, Dane's had it. You get it from Aldi's. It's not bad if you're okay with knowing that a machine took all the bits and then made it into something that was edible and is fine as a concept, which you ate it. You thought it was fine. We ate it a couple times. You're like, this isn't the best, but it's perfectly. Yeah, you were fine with it.
It was entirely unremarkable, which is probably not bad.
Yeah, well, compared to some other stuff that people have made.
Yeah. Kind of my point, yeah.
But I don't like a lot of crappy TV dinners.
One of my favorite memories from when I was a kid was when everybody in my family had to go out of town for something. I think it was a funeral or something. I stayed home, take care of the dogs, possibly, because I was the oldest. And so they gave me an allowance to go buy groceries with. And I just got like a bunch of kid cuisine meals. Great. Favorite thing. Kid cuisine meals and Stouffer lasagna.
I'm fine with it, Etiquette. Honestly. Mechanically separated doesn't bother me at all. And chorizo, depending on the brand, is amazing. Like, we've got a cart here that I don't know where they get their chorizo or if they make it themselves, but it's really, really, really good.
Mechanically separated reminds me. I don't know if you all have seen this, but there's a video. You know the chef Jamie Oliver? Well, he was doing a video about chicken nuggets. And so he basically had these kids in his kitchen, was talking about how they make chicken nuggets, which is where you grind up all the bits. And he did it right there on the thing. He took a chicken, he basically ground it up into paste, and then he made nuggets and he fried them. And they look just like McDonald's chicken nuggets. And then he made like real chicken nuggets where he made it out of whole cuts of meat and whatever. And he's like, all right, now who wants these ones and who wants these ones? And all the kids ate the McDonald's style ones. And he was just like...
Kids will steal your pride. If you have any pride left by the time they're done shitting their diapers, they will beat it out of you.
It was great. I was like, take that, you smarmy bastard.
Well, Etiquette, I consider anything that I can eat without sickness or breaking a tooth or, that tastes good, that comes from an animal, to be in the meat range.
Meat!
And I'm fine with it. Like, I don't have a problem with offal or fat or skin.
At least not one, not.
Or, I don't know, name it and I'll eat it. So, I'm not worried. So it doesn't bother me knowing that some of that stuff's going to end up in sausage or whatever, because I eat that stuff by itself.
Yep.
Like, I don't care. If it's delicious, I eat it. And I believe that if I'm going to eat another animal, I should eat all of it.
Or at least as much of it as possible.
Well, yeah. Like, I'm not... I'm not gonna sit there and try to get like the marrow out of thin little bones or whatever. Like, there's a limit. But I'll cook them and make sauce. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll eat it.
Give it to me.
Depending again on who made it. That's always got to be my little, like, there's, even if I don't say it, there's an asterisk about anything I'll eat. Just imagine, Jim, if eating hot dogs was your job. Wouldn't that be a great job?
Goddamn job.
Haggis.
No way.
I would eat, okay, so I'm not against the idea of haggis. The only haggis I've been able to try so far was not good. But I think that had to do with who made it, which goes back to my asterisk, which is next to anything I say I like, which is it depends on who made it. Yeah. So, like, I love fried chicken, and I really, really love fried chicken skin. Like, it's delicious, and I would eat just that if I could. Like, you and I would probably make a great team, because you could just give it all to me.
Give me my chicken skins.
But it depends, because I've had really bad chicken skin. I've had people fuck it up, and I don't know how you do that, because I can make great fried chicken skin. Like, I don't even know if the chicken underneath will be cooked right or taste good, but, like, skin is super easy. Yeah. Short life, great job. Oscar Wolf, it's the one, like, I've had a lot of really good food in Portland, but I've also had some of my biggest disappointments in Portland. And Dane was super excited to get the haggis. He was like, and it was after a show, and he had like good beer, and he was just so excited. And then, like, it was the worst. Like, he ate it, and I'm glad because it was expensive, but like, it wasn't good. I'm certain that person was running.
I mean, the poutine wasn't amazing.
Yeah, like, even the poutine was just edible. Why would haggis be illegal? That seems weird.
Like importing haggis.
Oh, maybe importing it, but you can just make it here.
Yeah,
all of the things that go into haggis are available here.
Yeah, but yeah, the importing of haggis was illegal for a while. I don't know if it still is.
Well, I don't know that I want you to import it anyway. Again, like, a lot of that stuff seems like stuff you'd want to make fresh.
I mean, it's hard to get your hands on sheep stomach here.
Yeah, but there are sheep that are grown here. Like, if you're gonna make, like, in a restaurant, if you're gonna make haggis,
right?
Like, you would get your restaurant sourcer or like whatever to source that.
I mean, if you got a decent butcher, you can probably get all of it.
Right. Including stomachs? What about stomachs?
That's what haggis is made in.
I know.
I don't know.
I mean, we eat sheep, so you should. If their stomachs are edible, we should eat that too. Like, I don't know. Like, there's definitely stuff, like, if you're getting, like, a deer. Hi, Jack.
Hi, Bubby.
Hey, buddy. Come here. Oh, no, he's not going to jump on me, which is nice, actually. He likes to just sneak up and jump on me from behind when I'm not paying attention and scare the bejesus out of me and also scratch me. It's great. Because it turns out he's always shocked when I scream and then fall or do something, move irregularly, when he didn't warn me that he was coming for me. And then he's like, why didn't you stand still? I'm so confused. Yeah, like, I know that, because Dane's told me that and I've heard it elsewhere too, like, if you go out and hunt and get a deer, like, you don't eat the brains. It's not that they're not edible, it's that you can get diseases from it.
Yep.
Like, so that you shouldn't do, but...
Like, you used to be able to, but yeah, not so much anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, like... Well, and there's a bunch of stuff like Agreements with Butchers is great because like there's a bunch of stuff that you don't see on regular quote unquote supermarket shelves, but it's great stuff. Like liver, tongues.
It's becoming a lot more common to see that kind of stuff on supermarket shelves,
Yeah.
which is great, but also not great because it makes things like tongue super fucking expensive.
You don't want any of that, what, offal? Tongue? Yum. Dean's never made tongue, and it's sad, because we've had it, like, oh my gosh. The Mexican restaurant that used to be really close to where we lived in Portland, the best tongue. Oh, it was so good.
Lengua.
Yeah, chicken feet are a lot of work for no more than you get out of them. I mean, I could see that. I think, too, like, some of it's... We've had tongue that had more of, like a really well-aged steak texture. And then we've had tongue that was a little chewier. And then we've had tongue that, like, all the little things were still on it. Like, there's definitely some range in the texture. And some of it's a little out there. You never eat anything that's been in someone else's mouth? Oh. That seems like a rule that might cordon off things that I might like. I mean, that... Again, like, we've eaten...
Chicken hands.
We've had chicken hands, feet, whatever you want to call them. Depending on the sauce they put on them, they're delicious. They're just a pain in the ass to eat and not worth the trouble.
Yep. But sometimes when you feel a novelty.
Or if you're in a place that does really good sauces and stuff.
That's true.
Like, at that point, that's what it's for, is to eat the really good sauce.
Yeah. Ain't much I won't eat. Oysters, pretty much it.
You'll still try them.
Yeah.
There's not that...
Called soup.
No, because, like, it's still got, like, that meaty, unctuous, like, slow-cooked... Like, there's a flavor to it that's very delicious. They're just a lot of work. And it's messy. And I have an issue where I don't like to eat like really messy stuff in restaurants and get stuff all over my hands. And really, like, trying to eat them with a fork is ridiculous and silly. Trying to eat them with chopsticks is ridiculous and silly. Oh no! Sorry about that, Jem. Like, they're definitely like barbecue like barbecue ribs in terms of it's just easier to use your fingers, but I don't like it. I prefer to eat barbecue ribs at home too. Or chicken. Like, I don't know, what is it?
You don't even like barbecue chicken.
No, like barbecue, like just fried chicken even. Like,
Oh, I see. Just things you eat with your hands.
yeah, I don't necessarily want to get my hand, like, and it's not such a big deal. Like, if you're at a fast food restaurant, like, who cares? If you're, like, dressed appropriately, there's probably somebody in there that's not, and so you're fine. Nobody's looking at you. But, like, I don't know. I just don't like to have, like...
I eat everything at home.
Yeah. Well, now, I don't... Who knows how I'll feel when I go to a restaurant the next time.
Next time we're in a restaurant, we'll just be like...
People will be like...
Like, off the buffet, just like, ah!
No. Ew. No. The poor waitress will be like, would you like a fork? And I'll be like, I don't remember what that is, as I'm just eating the mashed potatoes just by the maw load. I mean, again, there's some really tasty chicken wings out there.
Jalfrezi wings from the Indian buffet.
Oh, so good. Or the place that they have one in Chicago and one in LA.
Oh yeah, the Korean place.
The Crazy Wings. The
What's
wings
that
that were
place
so good, but they made you cry.
Yeah. What was that place called?
I don't remember.
Boom something?
Boom Chicken? Was it Chicken Boom? Boom Chicken? I don't know. It was really fun.
It was funny.
That sounds dumb, but it was fun like that, guys. Like I'm not far off. I might be far off. I feel like I'm not though.
You're not a man, you're a chicken. Boom.
Oh my god. We thought we were brave and smart. And we were like, we would like half and half hot wings and original. And they're looking at Dane when he went to pick it up and they're like, you wanted half hot? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like,
you sure?
are you sure, sir? And he's like, yeah, it'll be great. We didn't get the extra hot. Like, it's fine. Yeah. And they're like, they're hot. And he's like, yeah.
Ideally.
And then we got
Bonchon.
Bonchon, not Boom. Was chicken. That's another place down there. I swear to God, there was a place with the word chicken and boom in the name. I don't know. Bonchon. It was so good, guys. They're so good.
Jim, you could have Bonchon. It's great.
You totally could have Bonchon. The hot ones, they're not fucking around that, though. When they say they're hot, like, they're not fucking around. They mean it.
We almost killed our roommates for that weekend.
Okay, so, like, Dane and I each ate a couple, but we spaced them out. But it was one of those where, like, we were in pain the entire time, but they were so good. So we're literally, like, crying as we're eating it. And, like, our lips, we're starting to get that whole, like, ring around your lips because it's just burning the skin. But they're so good. And then our roommates came back from where they were. And they're like, what are you eating? And we're like, the best, hottest chicken wings in the world. We're going to die. And there were still like 4 left. It was Bonchon. Dane's going to type it out. And our one friend likes spicy chicken wings. He's like, oh my God, it sounds great. And we're like, dude, they're really hot. Because we got like 8 of them for that half. And Dane and I had each eaten 2. And we were just like, I think I'm going to die. I don't think I can do more. And so he was like, well, I'll trade you a chicken wing for a piece of pizza, because they brought back pizza. And we're like, sure. I mean, we don't need to. You can just have a chicken wing. He's like, no, I have to pay for it. You can have a piece of pizza. And we're like, no, seriously. Just have it. And he was like, oh my God, this is the best. And he's like starting to cry as he's eating it. But he's like, these are great. And we're like, do you want the rest? Because we're weak. We're not going to be able to do it. And he's like, yes! And his wife was like, you shouldn't do that. Like, you haven't been, like, it's your stomach's, but, like, you shouldn't do that. Yes, it is by C2E2. It's in Chinatown. Like, it was right across from where we stayed the first year we stayed in Chinatown. This is a nice song.
It is, but
it's got lots of singing.
It does, which is not
your thing.
ideal.
Right. And so he ate them all. And the next day he and he's just crying. Like his face. Yeah.
Oh, and he had some regrets that night in the bathroom.
Oh boy, did he have some regrets.
So did we.
We all had regrets.
So much regret. But so good.
Anyway, Bonchon. Delicious.
Get the original if you're not super good with spicy.
And Dane and I are solid, like, we're at solid white people medium to medium hot, I would say, in terms of the range. And it was delicious, but I couldn't eat more than 2. So when you picked up food... You know, etiquette, like, I think, and there's a problem too, like, there was a Thai place in Beaverton that Dane and I liked the food, but it was very mild. Like, it was super mild. And then finally one day, like, I don't know what Dane said to the lady, but he was like, no, please make it spicy. And I think he really said it a lot. And what we found was they were incapable of doing a good solid medium for us. There was mild, which was delicious, but very little spice. And then there was, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Which was still delicious, but yeah.
They had mild and Thai hot.
Yeah, I don't want hot food just for the sake of being hot. I definitely don't. I'm trying to think of what we had the other day that was. Oh yeah, so our local taco stand has a new extra hot sauce.
They're very proud of it.
They're very proud, and they should be. It's very, very delicious. It's got like a smoky flavor to it. It's actually really, really good. But they aren't fucking around. And it's a special occasion sauce because it's really hot. Like, I like things that are supposed to be hot to have a bit of spice to them, but there's definitely a limit. And I'm not I can eat jalapeno, like, or hot peppers just straight out of the jar like pickles kind of person. Oh, yeah, no. The people that want to shame you about it, that's ridiculous. Like, my dad literally buys extra mild paste. That's a thing you can get.
Turns out, I had no idea that was a thing until, yeah.
Like, even medium paste doesn't have any spice to it. So mild is just sweet. Like, extra mild, you might as well have just gotten spaghetti sauce.
I feel like that's basically what it is.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna eat that because what's the point? Like, a tomato has more spice than that. I think they have to, like, do something to the tomato to make it less spicy. But, like, it tastes weird. Don't get it. But different people can handle different levels of spice. Like, that's not...
The spice must flow.
Like, I enjoy spicy food to a certain extent, but if that's not your thing, it's not your thing. And, like, I absolutely... So one of Dana and I's favorite meals to try to get at really good Chinese restaurants is the dry cooked pork intestines. And they come spicy. They come with these little red peppers that they cook that they cook the meat with. And Dana and I don't eat the red peppers. And we've seen other people eat, like, I've seen people eat those peppers, and I think they're insane. They're very, very hot, and I don't know why. Like, I don't feel like they added flavor by being cooked with it. And it's not a personal failing. What a stupid thing to do. Like, and plus there's a lot of people, and I'm getting there, which is not cool. There's a lot of people who like spicy food and can't eat it. Yeah, and as I get older, there's definitely some spicier stuff that has to be a special occasion. Because my stomach doesn't, and my whole system doesn't like it. Ming, is that the one we go to when we're in C2E2?
They have a different type of intestines.
They have it.
There, it's not the same.
It's not the same. It was very delicious, but it wasn't the
Hey, Tony.
The dry cook. Hey, Tony. But the place down around the corner in the exact same little area, and I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's in like a much smaller space, and it's right on the corner. They've got it, and they've got a really good version of it.
Why is that one turbo?
What is turbo?
I don't know.
I'm so confused. Like, and see, and okay, that makes me sad because, like, I love pickled jalapenos. I think they're delicious. Sometimes I like to put them on random things, like a grilled cheese sandwich with some pickled jalapenos straight out of the can. Yum. Yeah, we did, Jem. We ordered some, and it was good. Like I said, it was delicious. It wasn't the way that it wasn't cooked quite the same way. And it can be hard to know exactly what you're gonna get. But yeah.
The other place is Lao Sichuan.
Say it again.
Lao Sichuan.
That place is very good too. That place has a dude at the door.
Yeah, it's got
that
a greeter.
like brings you in, and like you can tell when you've been in often. Like he talks to people and asks them about their kids, and yeah, like a host.
Yeah.
No. Etiquette, Dane actually prefers Serrano and Anaheim in a lot of the stuff we cook. He's getting back to the point, like, but for a long time he didn't like the flavor of jalapenos.
It's true.
So that's not... You're not the only one. Do we remember the show It's a Living?
Nope.
You can get what? Turbo? What is turbo?
I don't know.
I'm very confused about all of this.
I have no idea. Turbo for no ads on stream. Oh.
We don't know things.
I know nothing.
Hey, here's a question you might know the answer to. How close are you to getting this thing done?
Well, I'm almost done with the buildings. When I get done with the buildings,
Did you go to do the sky?
I'm going to do the sky. Possibly color grading. Because this is all currently in basically local color. I probably want to do some rendering in the buildings to give them some depth.
Ooh, banana peppers. Rendering to give depth. And, well, okay, wait, you said color grading and local color. What does that mean?
So right now it's all the color that it is.
Oh,
So
like...
if I decide I want to make the thing like sunset
okay.
or whatever, and I change the sky that color, then I need to go back in
and put a filter on it, and
basically
then adjust the things that didn't do the right thing in the filter.
Yes. That exactly.
Okay. Got it. So how many more months do you think that we're going to be watching this?
6.
Okay. There you go, guys.
I hope to have this done before convention season starts.
Which one? What does that mean to you?
Do you not see the things there?
What?
I don't know.
I don't know what's happening.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I just don't know what it means.
We don't...
Because everything else, like if I hover over the little graphics in front of like your name, Etiquette, I can tell what they mean. Oh, now it finally worked. It does say turbo, but I don't know what that means.
I'll scroll up. I like banana peppers. I also like the little... What are they called? The ones we get on the pizza that we haven't put on the... Are they called banana peppers? I thought they called them something else.
Oh, they call them... What? They are banana peppers.
Yeah.
Pepperoncinis.
Pepperoncinis. Ooh, yummy. I love pepperoncinis. Just a big jar of those in the fridge. But, like, pickled jalapenos on a grilled cheese sandwich.
Ooh.
Yum. It's delish. I've finally convinced Dane over to the dark side a little bit with pickled jalapeno. Like the canned ones that you just get at the store.
Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack. How mad he is while he does it. That was not the most. Are you helping him?
Yeah.
That's friendly
There
of
we
you.
go.
Jack, come here. Are you okay? That was less graceful than usual. Sweetie? Are all your feet okay? Yeah? You're just feeling like you're losing your dignity? That you didn't have?
I accidentally caught him with my hand when he jumped. And threw him off balance.
Here.
He's very graceful. He's the most graceful of Jacks.
You want to be under there? Oh, okay. He's gonna mole cat for a while.
That'll be good for him. Until he
falls
falls off the side of the thing. Because again, most graceful of Jacks.
He really likes to mole underneath a blanket and just... Night, Glasdian.
Night, Glasdian.
I mean, it's fun to have things you like and then find out there's a fancier name for it, Oscar Wolf. There's more singing. Thought you didn't like singing.
No! Stop singing at me.
Dane made pizza with bechamel.
I did.
And broccoli.
I did. And cheese. And peppers and onions.
It was good.
It was pretty good. So, so Turbo is ad-free all across Twitch. Okay.
We're learning.
Fancy. Tony's all like, I ain't got time for ads anywhere. Done.
I mean, that's fine. Given that Twitch won't let us choose what ads we... Like, I feel like we should be able to say what kind of ads we want. Or what kind of ads we don't want, at least. That feels appropriate to me. So she made bechamel for... Attica's mom hated vegetables, so she made bechamel for everything.
I mean, maybe I did it wrong, but I feel like white sauce is basically just cream gravy.
I'm not a fan of cream gravy though.
Like,
it's one thing. That's one thing that the name like if you put that on, like, it was fine on the pizza. It was just a little bland.
Yeah.
But if like you put that on mashed potatoes, he's gonna fall off the table. If you put that on mashed potatoes and we're like, hey, I put white gravy on it, I'd be like, this isn't gravy. Shut your mouth.
Right.
Like, I'd be a little offended. Like, you could have just put cheese. What the hell's wrong with you?
Right. I mean, if I put cheese in it, it's becomes cheese sauce. Like, that's how you make cheese sauce. But...
Yeah, but you didn't, and now you're, like, calling it white gravy and there's no meat in it.
Right.
Nah. You like it on the Alfredo side? Like, his wasn't bad. I'm not, and he put enough, like, it was on a pizza with other things, so, like, it was not bad.
Yay for not bad.
It was a completely reasonable, like, white pizza. But, yeah, like, on mashed potatoes, I'd be like, why? I don't understand why we did this thing. But part of it is, like, I don't know, my dad would probably like it. He'd probably be fine with it.
Well, that's not a ringing endorsement.
My parents like really bland things. Well, like everything else, I'm fine with MSG too. Like, if it's got flavor, there's just not much I'm not okay with.
Yeah, I gotta figure out how to make it not bland. Because usually, like, when I'm making a bechamel, it's a base for gravy. So it's getting meat juice or it's getting cheese in it.
Or some other thing.
So, I've never just made straight up white sauce before, just to consume. So.
I don't...
Yay, thanks for the follow, Tony.
Woo! MSG doesn't kill people. People are ridiculous. Yeah, like, part of... That was my... Like, growing up, I didn't like white gravy. Which it turns out is just that. Because I thought it was bland and it tasted just kind of like Play-Doh. Which makes sense if you've ever had homemade Play-Doh. Like, they're basically the same thing, but add cream. Ew. Back in grade school, they made Play-Doh with, like, flour and water and something. Yeah.
You don't put water in cream sauce.
That's what I'm saying. It's basically like Play-Doh, but with cream.
Oh, I see.
And it was super, like... So I started from... and then I was like... I found out that a lot of people think that, like, white gravy shouldn't have meat in it. And I was like, oh, that's why you're wrong. Okay, I see. This is not that white gravy is bad. It's just that so many people were stupid and didn't realize that gravy has meat sauce in it. Got it.
I mean, white gravy doesn't have meat in it.
Then it's wrong.
Right.
And it's not gravy. We've had this discussion.
If it has...
White sauce plus potatoes sounds like the worst thing.
I don't make potato soup very often.
We've had potato soup that wasn't that, and it was delicious, but it had, like, other things in it. But, like, mostly potato soup tastes terrible. I'm not a soup person, Etiquette. Remember.
I did make clam chowder once. It was basically bechamel. You're right.
It was really good, though. So you must have put something else in it, because it had flavor, and it was good.
Well, it did have bacon in it. And clams.
Fresh clams.
Fresh clams from the ocean. Ocean clams.
But see, that's the thing. Like, just white sauce and potatoes, bleh. Why would I eat that? Yeah, it's fine.
Tonight on Ashley Has Feelings. White food.
I'm not into it. Also soup.
Also soup.
But see, potato cheddar soup sounds delicious. You've added something. It's not white sauce with potatoes. The good potato soup that Dane made had a lot, like, bacon and cheddar and a whole bunch of onions and garlic. It was basically a baked potato in my bowl.
Yeah.
And that was delicious. But most potato soup is dull and boring, and why would I eat that? Like, I can go get good mashed potatoes and good gravy, and it's more delicious, and it's not soup. All of those are bonuses. Dane's just like, God, seriously.
Okay, drive to our house. We'll try it.
With your new house, the diving cave. You're feeling personal.
We need access to better cooks.
You might have missed that part, Tony. We had the conversation earlier where I eat most things, but there's like, when I say, oh yeah, I love whatever, fill in the blank, there's always an asterisk because it depends on who makes it. Like, I don't eat meatloaf unless Dane made it.
Wait, scuba diving tunnels for sale in Kansas?
Nobody wants that.
What?
Especially not now that we're having all the earthquakes. That's a bad idea.
$10.9 million in Kansas? Oh, it's 17,000 square feet. A diving grotto. Diving grotto. What? Fucking rich people, man.
Nope. You could have an entire horse ranch with horses that didn't cost that. So here in Kansas, so that seems silly.
It's like Disneyland in the Midwest, except nobody can go to it except for the person who owns it, and it's just for fucking diving.
Which I can't do anyway, so meh.
But where is this nonsense? Doesn't say. Just
Look at the thing though. Like, that's actually, for that price, that's quite a bit. Like, that's still, I would say, a benefit. Like, you're not going to get anything like that cheap in California.
they called this property the Spirit of Avalon.
Of course they did.
What? I hate this person.
They built underground diving tunnels and rooms. Of course they did.
Why can't I find out where it is? they have this whole article about this real estate listing, but you can't tell them. They don't tell you where it is. All right, tour the 3D home. They did go all out. That's true. They still have, okay. Maybe this link. I had to go through 3 links to find out where the hell this house is. House. Maybe I haven't even yet. Lake Clavira, Kansas. Let's find out where that is.
You do something like that if you had a stupid amount of money? Hmm.
Oh, it's over in Johnson County. Okay.
That makes more sense.
That makes way more sense. That's where the rich people who don't have the last name Koch live in Kansas. I mean, you've got to share the obnoxiously large diving grotto.
Nah. There's so many reasonable things you can do with that, with stupid amounts of money. I'd be a boring rich person, guys. Like good. I would try to throw net benefit into the world, but I'd be pretty boring. Like, give me Bill Gates over Elon Musk any day of the week.
I mean, Bill Gates now.
Right. Well, just in terms of
Like
what you
old Bill
do with
Gates.
stupid money.
Right.
Or, like, Dolly Parton over
Yes.
either of them, right? Like, Dolly Parton was like, hey, I have all this money. I could buy books for every single kid in my state.
And
then she did.
Every single kid in the goddamn world because she's awesome.
Right. Like, I don't know. That's not the most interesting. Like, she's not, like, going to space or whatever just because she can. But, you know, she's buying books for every single kid in her state.
State of Tennessee is talking about putting her in the U.S. Capitol building.
They should. A statue of her would be great in the U.S. Capitol building. If they do that, next time I get a Capitol tour, I'm insisting that we find that so I can do a selfie with it.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, but how hard, like, how, like...
It's a bag.
Yeah, how low is that bar? Like, how low is that bar that, like, the man has more money than God. Like, literally, he has so much money that none of us can even understand how much money it is. And he's done some good. Like, he could lose his wallet one day and do some good. Like...
You see a thing today? Somebody posted, like, apparently Jeff Bezos made, like, $4.5 million per hour last year.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like...
That's nut bars.
But you know what I mean? Like... Again, Jim, how low is that bar? How low? Like, Oscar Wilde, statue of Dolly Parton. Tennessee is talking, because every state gets to put a couple of statues, like 2, in the Capitol building of great people from their state. And they're talking about, because right now they've got, like, a Confederate, and they're talking about taking that one out and putting in a statue of Dolly Parton. Which I agree with, because if Dolly Parton were from my state, I'd be pretty proud. Yeah. Like, the thing I like about Bill Gates is that he never acts like the shit that he does. And he does a lot more good in the world than, like, some of these other assholes. But, like, he never acts like we should be super impressed, because he's very aware that he has a shit ton of money and he can pay people to go figure out the best way to do some good. Like he doesn't... I don't know. I just feel like the bar is so low for some of these assholes. Like, once you get to the point where you have billions of dollars, the amount of good you could do with that amount of money, and then like what they actually do, like I don't think they get credit for it. Because it's almost harder, especially when you've got accountants and playing like weird games with shit, it's almost harder to not do any good with that amount. Like that's almost more impressive than doing some.
White people food.
What about what?
And Elon Musk, things Ashley has feelings about tonight.
I have feelings about everything all the time.
Next on Ashley ruins something.
His rocket, his focus is. I never watched Thundercats. I have zero feelings about Thundercats. Except I like the idea. The name makes me happy, so there you go.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Why would I be offended by that?
Who's...
Oh, because Bezos' rocket? I don't care. I got paid to draw a thing. I have no feelings about whether or not it's bogus or not.
Okay, I think the thing is, like, I don't think Gates thinks about things the way you and I necessarily think about things. The list of Ashley's feelings is long. It is very long. And it expands. Like, that's... like... oh my god.
Exactly, Tony.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's the difference between Dolly Parton and any of these other people we're talking about. Like, that, like... But I'm like, I guess what I was giving Bill Gates credit for is that, like, he doesn't act like he thinks that we should worship him for doing some good, right? Like, he's aware that it wasn't that hard for him because he had that amount of money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to him, it feels like to him, it's just objective. Like, I have ridiculous amounts of money and I could spend millions and millions and millions of it and never miss it. And there's people over there that need toilets. And that would do a lot of good. So, like, let's do that. Cool. Like, he's not like, so you think I'm awesome now and you should worship me because I spent this money, right? Like, I don't feel like he thinks that way. And that at least makes me happy, right? Like, or happy's the wrong word. But, like, I appreciate that he doesn't think that we should worship him. Versus some of these other fucking rich dudes are like, I spent 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of a percent of the money I have on a thing, and it sounds like a big number to you because you barely are able to pay your bills, so you should be impressed by me. Not really. I'm not impressed. Like, I'm just not. That's the first book of our trilogy, Ashley's opinion.
Yeah, Bezos X does seem to have a soul.
Yeah, Tony, like, I'm with that, like, literally, Dolly Parton was like, did the math, right? She, like, somebody told her, hey, kids are struggling in school, and when little kids have books in the house, that helps, they do better in school. And she was like, well, how many kids, and how much do books cost? And, hey, I could write that check. And then she fucking did. And, like, for years. And told, like, no one. Like, she didn't go out of her way to tell anyone, or to, like, people knew for years that it was happening in Tennessee. Like, because she was just like, oh, I have that money, and that could do that. Like, let's just do that. Like, if more rich people had that sense of things, like, we would be in a better place. And they should, but they don't. Exactly, Oscar Wall. Like, they're like, aren't you impressed with me because I spent $10 million on a thing? And I'm like, yeah, but you have, like, hundreds of billions. Like, I don't have the ability to do the math, but somebody else did, and it's a very teeny tiny, like, you won't miss it. Like, it's a rounding error on the money you made last year, so I'm not impressed. Like, I can drop a quarter in a charity box, and I don't, like, put it online and expect people to be impressed with me. And that's literally more of my money than what you just spent.
Today on Ashley Has Feelings, billionaires, friends, or food?
I mean, I don't like... Yeah. I just don't think that we should be impressed. I don't understand the worship. But, I don't know. I don't understand the worship for a lot of people, so fuck them all.
Fuck them all like God's talking about.
Oh no, Oscar Wolf. Whoa, and your student loans are state instead of federal? Or province instead of federal? Yikes. And also, I'm sorry. That was that's what happened to us when Bush was in office.
Yeah.
Bush and his Republicans raised our interest rates on student loans, and that was pretty great.
Awesome.
Mm-mm. Spoiler, it was not awesome.
Did not fan.
Mm-mm. What was fun, though, was telling my dad and having that conversation when he realized how much interest I was paying, and it was higher than his credit card interest, and he thought that was terrible. And so he called his congressperson and made somebody in the office, like, because he lived in Western Kansas, so there's like 10 people, and made somebody like not only listen, but call him back about it. I was like, yes! I don't think it did any good, because
we had state and federal student loans. Mohila is state.
Oh, yeah, but they're governed by the federal government.
Are they?
Yeah.
They have cheese.
I think so. I don't know. I paid those off first, so...
Cheese.
Oh yeah, Etiquette. They make all kinds of money on us. And that's wrong. Like I don't know. Like, we paid Dane's loans off a couple of years ago. The only loans I have left are from my 1 year of grad school. That's a choice. That's kind of... I like that. That's a little bright. That's interesting. Don't like that. That's boring. That's fine. What if you did a paler version? Although I really like that color with the blues that popped against it.
Well, right now it's just the base.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice of them.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't let student loans do that ever. No, I agree, Etiquette. That's how it should be. But I don't even know, like, if they start doing student loan forgiveness, because mine's for grad school, I don't know if what we have left would be forgiven. But I don't begrudge anybody that could get it forgiven, because, like, it would be such a boon to our economy. If we really want to, like, do something awesome for our economy, that would do it. Etiquette, I had a friend, like a work friend at a job when I was in college, who had something like that, where she got a note and they were like, we're going to take your tax return for, like, your student loan payment or whatever. And she was like, ha ha, fuckers, the joke's on you. I did the math. And she owed like $5. And so she sent them $5 to pay, like, the $5 of her taxes. But she's like, yeah, I don't have them take extra. They'll just take it. There's no way. And Tony, like, the thing with the $15 minimum wage, like, I've done a lot of those jobs, and they are hard fucking jobs. And they are made worse by the asshats that think that they're better than the person doing the job and treat you that way. Like the worst part of working for McDonald's or Walmart especially, oh my god, was not working for Walmart, although that was pretty awful. The worst part was dealing with the people who treated you like you were a Walmart employee and treated you like shit for it.
Yeah.
Like, those are ridiculous. Like, and working at McDonald's, like, that shit will tear your body up. And I was a kid. I was healthy then. Oh, yeah. Etiquette, I get the sense that she'd had it happen before, and so she just went back and changed it. And she's like, I can save, however much a month for my check or try to or whatever, but there's no way I'm giving them the chance to take my money again. Well, I mean, Jim, the joke's on them now for us because we pay taxes every year. So, like, they're not taking nothing. Yeah. I'm not a fan of matching what people make with their value as human beings, mostly because I've met a lot of people who make a decent amount of money and are awful. And I'm not completely...
Oh, thanks, Oscar. It is starting to get a little laggy, so I appreciate you looking out for me there.
I'm not completely...
Well, let's save it. I'm going to get more coffee.
Me too, please? Yes. Oh, I'm about to sneeze again. Jeez. I'm going to. I'm not completely deaf to the arguments that there should be different minimum wages in different parts of the country. It is certainly much cheaper to live here in Kansas than it was in Portland. And Portland was cheaper than parts of California, or like where my sister lives outside of DC. So definitely the way, like, I'm not insensitive to the idea that minimum wages could be different in different parts of the country, but I don't think that doesn't mean that it couldn't be 15 everywhere, and then more than that in some places. I feel like we should, Oscar Wolf. I wish there was a way we could pass out points and just be like, you're awesome. Today you get points. I don't think we can.
What?
Oscar Wolf says, I think you should be giving me points for the make me save function.
If we could, we would. I mean, we give you points by when you're watching. Like, you earn points as you watch, I think, right? So, kind of?
Etiquette, I stopped letting the government have that much of my money when I was working for a regular paycheck. Once somebody pointed out to me that was like giving the government an interest-free loan for a year. And that the government never gave me an interest-free loan. And I was like, holy fucking shit, you're right.
Hydrate.
Woohoo!
Hydrate.
So...
You heard those. We make you work for it.
So yeah, we, after that, I didn't... Like, I tried to keep it much closer. Like, a couple $100 here or there is fine. Like, in terms of, like, I don't mind getting a couple $100 check at the end, and I don't want to owe that. But, like, I didn't let it rack up. Because again, yeah, it's nice to have a big check at some point in the year, but that's like you just gave the freaking government a giant loan for no interest, and fuck them. Yeah, and I've heard, like, I get that. My sister sets up automatic savings things so that money goes automatically into a savings account. Well, and part of it's just like we should get paid more. Like, most jobs I've ever had were really low paid for what we did. By the way, I looked it up, and here in Kansas, the minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour. And
is that the federal minimum wage?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I was going to be really surprised it was that high.
The last time I worked for minimum wage that I remember, it was $5.25.
Yeah, me too.
So it's gone up $2 an hour in like 20 years, 15 years, something like that. That's why you make yourself forget it, Etiquette. Or in Dane and I's case, we make an agreement that I'm going to steal some of his money and put it away for him, and then I just don't talk to him about it, and he forgets that he's doing it, and so he forgets he has it. And then one day he's sad that he doesn't have any money, and I'm like, hey, but you do. And it's like, yay, a gift.
Do I have some of that right now?
No, not right now.
Okay. I got really excited for a second. I was like, do I have hidden money?
I mean, you probably have a little bit of hidden money, but it's not going to do much for you. It's not like thousands of hidden monies. It's been a year, buddy.
That's why I was really excited. I was like, I could definitely use some hidden money after this year.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like, I can't imagine people trying to say that the minimum wage doesn't need to go up when, again, like, it's only gone up like $2 an hour in like 20 years. And gas in that time has tripled. Like, I'm old enough to remember when you could get a tank of gas for $10, 12.
Oh, it's you.
I mean, Etiquette, you can set up things. So you can set it up if you're getting a paycheck. You can set it up at your bank so that a certain amount of money goes into a savings account with every check. And then, like, you can, and then just don't make that savings account easy to access. Like, yeah, it's still there and accessible, but, like, you can just make it so, like, it's not, like, you don't sign up for online banking with it, and it can't transfer back into your checking account, so you have to go into the bank to get it. So, like, if you need it in an emergency, it's still there, but it's not easily there. And if it's automatic with every paycheck, then you're doing nothing. You will forget. If you're like Dane, you'll forget about it.
I've already forgotten what we're talking about.
Because he's like that. Like, he's very much like, oh, saving sounds great, but if I do it, it doesn't go. And yeah, that reasoning that like, oh, well, they could get a better job. Yeah, bullshit. If it's worth doing, then it's worth paying people a living wage to do. I hate this idea that it's perfectly fine that some jobs, the people that do them, aren't worthy of having like a life. Because that's bullshit. Wow, that's got a mood.
Yeah. Not quite the mood I'm going for.
Wow.
So we'll see.
That's
fun, but not quite what I'm going for. There we go.
I mean, again, people can like I think it's just gross. Like I said, I've worked a lot of jobs and I've worked a lot of minimum wage jobs. And if it's worth doing, it's worth paying somebody something like that they can like possibly live and have a roof and, you know, it's a job. And Oscar Wolf, I'm upset that Alberta's like, oh, minors should get paid less. If they're doing the same damn job, it should pay a minimum wage. Like,
I had a job like that when I was in high school. The pizza parlor I worked at was like, oh, since you're under 18, we can pay you like $4 an hour instead of the $5.15 minimum wage. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. And they're like, well, that's your offer.
It actually wasn't right. It was illegal.
Yeah.
In Missouri, it was under 16.
I was in Nebraska.
Well, it might have been Nebraska, but I doubt it. I bet it was under 16 there too.
Get them with the butterfly nets. I mean, we've got them on call most of the time. Okay, it's fine. What? Shenanigans.
I have often thought we should stop making health insurance tied to employment. Because I think it hurts small businesses too.
That sounds like communism.
Personally. So, and like the larger, fancier employers could still add extras to health employment if they wanted. Or other kinds of benefits. They could still find ways to be fancy. I don't know. Like, they did that for a while when they changed the minimum wage rules federally, and then Missouri updated theirs. There was a point where I was in high school, and I was over 16. So I still got regular minimum wage, but I lost my two raises, my 12-cent raise and my 25-cent raise that I'd earned. I lost those because the minimum wage went up past that. So I was back to earning the same as starting employees, which was pretty great. But they were using 14 and 15-year-olds in the play place at McDonald's. And Missouri had said that you could pay them slightly less. And so they're like, hey, we're going to pay you less. And they all got together. And we're like, this fucking sucks. Like, we should get paid the same. Like, we're cleaning up, like, kids' vomit and shit. And shit. And they're like, cool, we're going to quit. Because that sucks. And then McDonald's was like, oh, well, then I guess we'll pay you minimum wage. Like, the same as the regular minimum wage. And they're like, okay, cool, then we won't quit. And then there was no more of that discussion. And now I look back and I'm like, those little fuckers unionized. Good job, guys. Collective bargaining works. But it was just a bunch of 14 and 15-year-olds that were like, this job is terrible. I'm not getting paid less for it. Oh, Oscar will. One year, one of my things at McDonald's, they went out of their way to tell us that the best, like, there were different ranges of raises, and the very best raise you could get was 50 cents an hour. And then for the middle, you got 20 cents, I think, or 25. And then low got like 10 cents and then, or none, or whatever, right? And they didn't give me 50 cents. And I was pissed. I was like, why the fuck am I only getting 25 cents? And they're like, well, we could only give 50 cents to the very, like, to people that were succeeding the best or whatever bullshit they came up with. And I was like, well, show me the list of what that included in the job and show me where I wasn't living up to that. And she finally was like, I was only allowed to give it to 2 employees and I got outvoted. And I was like, okay. So we just acknowledge that the owners suck and that this is all a lie to make us feel bad. And she's like, yes. And I was like, okay.
Damn the man.
But she was just like, what the fuck? When I was like, well, show me the criteria and where I failed to live up to it. And I went home and told my dad, and my dad was like, they shouldn't have set it up that way because of course you're going to ask about it. Dave's just like, Hammond. A 25-cent raise when you've been there for 10 years. Oh, awesome. What are you throwing on the ground?
Pictures. Keep forgetting that there's stuff on the wall there.
Yeah. What do you guys think, by the way, of Spidey? I think it's really bright. I think it's going to look nice on the paper. Are you going to do rough or smooth?
I was thinking rough.
I was too. That's going to look real rough. Ooh, canvas. Pretty. Okay, I don't think that 5% is significant at that point. I still think 5% is kind of shitty. Because no matter how much you make, like, lately, half the time expenses go up more than 5% a year. So that's barely covering cost of living. Like, and that doesn't change. Like, the cost of living raise doesn't change if you make more money. It doesn't somehow become cheaper to live. Like, companies are shitty and cheap. Oscar Wolf likes it a lot.
Yeah,
Edike says he looks contemplative.
That is what I was going for, so great. Success. Great success.
So, Edike, I feel like that there should be a built-in cost of living increase for everyone in the company because, again, the cost of living goes up no matter what. And then there should be instituted, like, small increases on top of that based on performance, if you're going to do that. Like, but I think there should be separate things. Like, there should be merit increases if that's a thing you're going to build into your company, but also just cost of living that everyone gets because it does go up. Bye, Oscar Wolf.
Night, Oscar Wolf.
Have a good evening.
Thanks for hanging out.
I'm sorry that Alberta wants to reduce pay.
Me too. Oh, yeah.
mean, that seems reasonable. At a game. Yeah, I mostly didn't suck up. The one time I came close, I was working at a company that had a lot of bullshit, and the owner was a problem. And yeah, I was like, oh, there's a lot of problems with this company, and I don't like this job. And I made it a game to see. Like, I'd gotten a review that they were like, oh, we think you have tone issues and attitude issues. And what it came around to was I actually told the boss what I thought a lot. It turns out honesty isn't always a good thing. Like, they don't like it. So I was like, well, let's play a game and let's see if I can find a way to, like, play the game that they're looking for. And pretty quickly I was promoted to leading the department. So it turned out that was possible, but it made the job even worse and I hated it more.
One of my favorite employee reviews I ever got was that I don't deal well with authority. And that will hinder my going upward in the company. I was like, oh. Shame.
I mean, it turned out it was... Yeah, like, it turned out it was easier than I thought to play the game and make people feel good about themselves and then make them feel better about me. But, like, I hated every minute of it so much that it wasn't worth it. And it came I've learned that if I hate the company enough, I don't care if they're actively hurting themselves. Like, sometimes I can even enjoy it.
Yeah. I mostly don't care. Like, unless it's my company. Like,
right. Well, but that's...
This company, I don't care if the company is hurting itself. As long as I get paid.
I mean, I care too much most of the time, but, like, if I hate the company enough or if they're terrible enough, then I'm like, well, that's a thing you're doing to yourselves.
Stop hating yourselves.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had a lot of shitty jobs. I've worked for so many companies that I didn't want them. Like, but you heard I worked for Walmart.
Like, yeah, I've had a lot of jobs. I'm just like, I don't care if you succeed. Just keep paying my goddamn paycheck.
I worked for Walmart. I worked for, like, I did a lot of, like, I've done, like, holiday seasonal jobs. There's a lot of, like, companies that come into malls just during the holiday. And some of them, they're, like, the shit that they do is ridiculously stupid. Like, and a couple of them were actively doing things and had active rules that were, like, harmful in every possible way, and I just thought it was funny. I don't know, I got paid minimum wage, it didn't matter. Like, I worked for Aramark in college, They ran our cafe, or cafeteria, I guess would be the better word for it.
Because the cafe sounds fancy.
And when she hired me, the manager was like, okay, so you need to understand there will be no raises. And I was like, cool, this is like minimum wage, right? She's like, yeah, and there will be no raise. And I was like, so my like reason to work harder or do the job really well, she's like, well, if you come in late too often or if you do a bad job, we'll fire you. And I was like, cool, so what you want me to do is not get fired. Awesome.
Bare minimum effort. Yeah.
I was like, okay, so you're paying me to not get fired. Cool. And it turned out that was kind of a high bar to get fired. So, like, it was a really, like, there was a lot of room. And there were a whole lot of days when I did more than the bare minimum, just because, again, it was kind of hard to get fired. But it was always in my head that I was not getting a raise, no matter what, and that all I had to do was not get fired. And that definitely affected my feelings about the company and my feelings about my job. Turns out there were a lot of things that were not my job. And I didn't take them on because why should I? Well, and the thing is, okay, like, that, having that much emphasis on saving money and not caring about how it happened probably was a reason that that entire company went away. And again, like, you had great managers, and that's good, but, like, there were probably other structural weaknesses within the company. Which had nothing to do with you. And, like, why care? Yeah, no, I get you, though. Like, we've worked for ourselves here for a long time now. I don't like the idea of working for someone else. And there's definitely some jobs that seem more doable than others, but I'm old enough and cynical enough now that there's a lot of places that won't get, like, I understand now. In a lot of places I worked, there'd be like a middle-aged person coming in just to fill in, right? Like, oh, I need to make a few extra bucks in the evenings or something. And they came in with a particular kind of attitude, and I get it now. I understand it in a way I didn't understand before. Oh, God. Like, Larry makes so much more sense now.
Like, Larry made a lot of sense to me back then.
But he makes more to me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
What is this? No. Stop it.
I mean, what kind of job do you want to find? Like, that's the question. Like, when everything opens up again, what kind of job do you want to be doing? I mean, and part of it is, I feel like some of it is as simple as just going in and talking to people. Like, I enjoyed my laundromat job. Mostly overall. Like, there were parts that were gross, but it wasn't hard, per se. And it, again, my boss, like, left me alone most of the time. Like, he had stuff that he wanted done, and he didn't stand there and worry about how I was getting it done. He just let me do my damn job. And I really, 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 really appreciated that part of it. But I found that by, like, using the laundromat and just asking a question.
There's a place here looking for a warehouse person. I drove by it yesterday. I don't remember where it was. But it's in Wichita. So, yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean, so inventory and receiving can seem hard, but again, a lot of it I think is just talking to people. Like, when I was in college, I ended up spending a summer doing inventory, like receiving an inventory and building an inventory system for them. I got hired for like the front desk, but the front desk didn't need somebody there all the time, and I just ended up doing the other thing.
Move to that huge property.
They might notice you're there. I'd worry though. If they do notice, they've got guns, probably.
It's Kansas.
Well, again, I think a lot of it's just talking to people. I don't know. Like, I would start with, like, what's a job you could do that's totally entry level and whatever that could just get you by until you find the one you want. Like, find one that's not in any, like, I don't know. Like, what's a thing you could spend a couple of months doing that's not in your area? Well, I mean, that's an issue. Like,
That's fair. Yeah. There we go. Are we a couple centuries off of Star Trek?
yeah, but that was just the people on on the ship. That was your best people. I guarantee back on Earth or like in the spaceports, you've got like Quark trying to scheme and get every little penny and not completely happy or satisfied.
It's true. If you don't have to worry about how and if you're going to pay rent because money isn't a thing anymore, that opens up some flexibility.
In the Federation, I guarantee everywhere else it is. It still was like on the space station. People are still paying for their drinks, or Quark wouldn't have been worried about making money.
Yeah, it's because they were outside of the Federation. They were like on the edge of Federation space. So as long as you're staying basically on Earth, you're in Federation space and you don't have to worry about it.
That always felt suspect to me.
It's because you're a Ferengi at heart.
I don't think there is a perfect situation for everyone. I think that's why it doesn't happen for most people. I think it's gaming the system and figuring it out. Well, it etiquette to me the question, because I've had similar thoughts and feelings. I think the question is what makes an enjoyable life for you? And what is required to make that happen? And what's like, because there's give and take in anything, right? Like, nothing is perfect. Like, my mom spent her whole career as a nurse, and she was one of those people that like took the test, the aptitude test thing in high school, and they were like, "Hey, you should be a nurse," and she's like, "Yeah, I fucking should." And she went and became a nurse, and she loved being a nurse, and she was always meant to be a nurse, and everything about her was nurse. She's had multiple nursing jobs, and there were good and bad things about all of them. Nothing's perfect. There's totally a balance thing, like. So, like, there was a guy that worked at the Starbucks, at our home Starbucks back in Portland, who had worked at Starbucks for fucking 10 years or something, right? And he didn't like it, but he didn't like anything else either. He's like, I just don't fucking actually like working that much. And so he didn't. He worked the number of hours that he needed to work to pay the minimum number, like, and then he just spent his money carefully on only the things that he needed, quote unquote. Like, he lived a really low-key life, but also, like, he could do whatever the fuck he wanted when he wasn't working. And he worked as little as possible to, like, for what it took to do that. And that made sense to him. Like, I'm with you. I think that a lot of people work harder than what they get out of it. The question is figuring out what you want. And understanding that you're not going to get everything, so figuring out which things are more important. Like, for my dad, it was really important to have a good wage, but he stayed in jobs that he wasn't happy at, under bosses that he wasn't always happy with, like, over the course of his full life. Like, a lot, because that wage was very important to him. And that sense of security he had from always knowing that his check was coming was very important to him. And he traded off, like, a lot of shitty work life for that. Like, I don't know, I feel like hating a third of your life isn't the worst. I know people that hate way more than that. I do. It's bad. Like, I'm not trying to be flippant. I'm really not. Going back to my dad, like, he spent a lot of time at work. Like, he was a workaholic. And sometimes hated it. Like, it was more than a third. And his decisions have affected mine in that sometimes now he's older and he's got financial security in a way that boomers can. And I'm not, like, I don't begrudge him any of that, but, like, I wonder about the trade-offs he made, and I have chosen differently based on some of what I saw growing up. Well, and that's the question. Like, I know people who take jobs they hate because they know that they're not going to be a workaholic for it. And they're going to do what they need to do to get the paycheck, and it's a decent paycheck, and then they come home. And they don't feel any, like, need to, like, worry about it at home or spend extra hours or whatever because it fucking sucks. Like, again, that might not be my choice, but I know people that have made that choice because it's really easy to have a separation between work and life. Like, and that becomes the thing. Like, I feel like sometimes, depending on your job, like, and your career path, like, meaningful jobs don't pay as well. And that has its own limits. I don't know. I think that there's a lot to be said for half-ass. I'm not good at it. I'm saying, like, I have learned to sort of appreciate the people that can do it. I'm not good at it, historically, but sometimes that's what the job is worth. Dane's just ignoring all of the and focusing on the A. That is an A, right?
Yeah. There is no half-ass.
I don't know. But, like, I've done a lot of jobs that pay the bills. And etiquette, here's the thing, like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I think my dad would agree with you. That's what my dad did. My dad was really shit at half-assing anything. But what that meant was he worked in a lot of places, and I learned from him, right? Like, and I took this experience, and that's what I did when I worked out there for other people. Like, he put a lot of extra effort and hours and care and emotions into a job that sometimes just wasn't worth it. They certainly weren't paying for that. They wouldn't have known the difference if you half-assed it. Sometimes they maybe would have preferred it, because sometimes it's easier to get along with you if you don't give a shit. Like, and not everybody deserves having your whole ass. Like, there's a lot of companies that just don't fucking deserve it. And like, so my dad spent a lot of time putting a lot of emotions and energy and effort into a job for companies and positions, which again, like, you know, maybe they deserved it or maybe they didn't, but did they know the difference? And if you're miserable, what's the fucking point? Well, they do expect more than they pay for. But that's the thing I learned by watching other people, and not my dad, etiquette, which is they expect more than they pay for, but they take what they can get. And sometimes individual managers prefer you to not care because they don't care and they don't want you to make them feel bad about it. Like, or they don't want you to, like, tell on them, or they don't want you to make them look bad. Like, and if that's not gonna, then to me, like, my suggestion would be look for something new. Because, and even if it means you start out from the beginning, because you're a capable person, so you'll be able to move up and learn quickly anyway. But, like, don't sign up for something you know is a sentence of misery from the beginning. Don't do that to yourself. Like, you using that metaphor and possibly stretching it past its bearing point, like, in that case, don't go where the Brussels sprouts are. Go somewhere that doesn't have Brussels sprouts. Or at least doesn't have them as far as you know. Can we not have that? No. Whatever the hell it is. Can we turn that down? Or to something else? It's a lot. It's pretty. Yeah, sometimes being the team lead sucks. Sometimes being the boss at some of these jobs suck. Like, I know. I used to work in a Hallmark Gold Crown store.
I have a friend who did merchandising for Coke for a long time.
Yeah, at least Hallmark, you're not hauling like 24 packs. Like, the cards are light, but they're not that heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a terrible job. Mm-hmm. So get a job doing that and then figure out what you want to try. Like, that gives you time to figure out what you want to try.
I think it's about right for proof. It didn't take all the pandemic.
It's amazing how, like, some things just take for goddamn ever, and other things are just like, oh, look, there we are.
Excuse me.
Well, do that then. Well, and you saw how long it took him, Medicaid, and people are going to be like, how come it's so expensive? And I'm going to be like,
Let's look at the month of.
the question you should be asking is, how come it's so cheap?
Yeah.
And
Look
I'm
at the
having.
month of streams it took me to draw.
I'm not sure that little bit of whatever should be there. I feel like
Bitch.
that shouldn't be. That's the fun part where
Ashley tears it apart.
I'm not tearing it apart. I'm just pointing out there's a weird little glowy bit, and maybe it shouldn't be there.
Why are you here? What are you doing?
The building was hovering in midair.
As all good buildings should, really.
Jim says, bless you, by the way.
Thank you. Oh, you were gone.
He's hanging out till the end. He's hardcore.
Right.
Do we see any more glowing bits from floating buildings? I don't. Let's see.
It'll give you exposure. Die from exposure.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of dying,
I'm
about
wondering.
dinner time.
It is, and I'm excited. I'm wondering if the edge should be something that is not white. Like, either no edge Or maybe...
I mean, we can go full bleed.
That's nice. I'm not against the full bleed. It's pretty nice. But also, like, sometimes people like not having full bleed. You also die from it, Etiquette.
As a person who goes to a lot of conventions, as a non-attendee, I do a lot of that going through the booths too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sad when I'm looking at art saying, quote unquote art, and saying, oh, I could totally do that. Like, you don't want Ashley to say that. If Ashley's saying that, you probably shouldn't have a table. Unless you're a crafter, in which case, like, I've done some crafts that were worthy of selling.
Needs some tweaking, but I could try and match this center part.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we like that matching the center part. I do like that better than the white. The white felt weird and sterile. I didn't like the white. Ooh, what about... It might ruin it, but what about, like, that one of those gray colors? Or that blue? You know what I mean? Like, just some...
I'm not sure I can get that exact blue without...
Okay, but... Oh, we can just... Yeah, I don't like it. It puts a roof on it. Okay. It's worth a try.
But...
You can play with it.
Yeah.
I kind of like it not having, like...
It'd be weird to not have a bleed on it, or a edge on it, but...
Yeah, I kind of like it. It's pretty without an edge.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh no, Etiquette. Oh no. Don't. Oh no. There's a person that does that on some forums, and she got her ass kicked off a forum because she had fits. Like, people weren't even insulting the thing she does,
Oh,
but
the perler bead lady?
she felt like they were insulting the
man.
perler bead thing, and oh my god, she was hateful.
Like, I've seen people who can do perler beads and do crazy cool things with them. Like, there's a company called 2.5D, and they do a lot of conventions in Portland, where they do, like, full scenes and dioramas, but all in perler beads, and those are neat.
And I've seen people that, like, do their designs first off, too. Like, they actually sit there and design it out or whatever, like...
They're not just copying sprites from a video game and going, look at me, I can do this.
And even copying sprites, like, depending on the price you're asking, like, it's still a thing that somebody did and you didn't do it, so, you know, it's, like...
Right.
Like, I can crochet a hat, but I might see a hat that somebody else crocheted that I'm like, oh, I would buy that because they made it. I see the value in it. But, like I'm not trying to... But I've seen some...
So you're not sitting there telling people how you're the world's greatest artist because you follow a plot to make Mario.
She was... That's why when you're like, the stupid beat, I was like, no! People have feeling... Like, yeah, she made a bunch of people that didn't know what it was hate it based on her behavior. Like, we talked to other people who were like, I don't even know what the fuck she was talking about, but I hate every person that does that. And we're like, please don't. There's some really nice people.
Right.
Etiquette agrees it's not as distracting without the edges. Part of me wonders if you'd want to pull, like, and I know it'd be easier to do with the sky, but, like, if you'd want to pull it in and, like, draw some of this a little bit lower, so you get a little, like, you don't ever want to cut off that sign. You want the edge there if they frame it. Am I making sense?
Nope.
Go to the edges, but bring in your image just a little bit.
Mm.
And I realize that means you might have to draw out a little bit, some of it a little bit more, but that's what I was saying. Because I actually like it without the border.
Yeah, I don't mind it without the border.
And I usually want the border, but I actually like it without the border. But again, I think I like seeing the entirety of that Hudson Yards end.
Night,
and even... Night, Jim. Have a good... Like,
we're probably going to get off here soon.
Say hello to Kate and the baby for us.
Yeah.
But I even like having that little bit under it. Like, in a frame, I would want that. Like, I would want it to cut there.
Mm.
So if you bring it down a little bit, it would cut properly in a frame, is what I'm saying.
Bring what down?
The image. If you show us give us a little bit more of the image down there. Which I know means you might need to shrink the entire thing a little bit. This is the fun part where I'm like just making shit up to try to talk to Dane because I don't have the proper words because I'm not an artist. I'm like, shrink it all, and he's like, what? Bring it in! What? Like, all of that has meaning in my head. I know what I want to ask. Oh. You can just shrink Spidey.
I can just shrink Spidey.
What?
There's some weirdness back here that I gotta look
Yeah,
at.
but let's just look at it with the full screen to see what that looks like now. Without the... Yeah. Exactly that, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's nice. Because then, again, you'll get that whole bit. Because the rest of this is neat, but none of it's integral to the piece. Like,
sure.
Versus I feel like that bit was. And I really like the effect of the train under the Hudson Yards. Like, I think you'd want to see that even in a frame.
Yeah.
Where's your mark? Your bug isn't somewhere
It'll be down here.
in that little square.
It'll be
That's a
down
good
in the
place.
corner underneath Spidey's butt.
Etiquette, I also would never tell a person I felt that way at a booth. Like, I have lots of judgmental thoughts about people, and most of them I don't say out loud. I feel like that's just adulthood. But, what do I know?
Adulting.
People say shit out loud that I'm like, what? Like, stuff that there are times I will admit, like, I've thought a thing, and then I've looked around for my mom because I've just expected that she's going to show up out of nowhere and smack me for it just because the thought was that bad and rude. Sometimes people say shit and I'm looking for their moms. I'm like, where's your mom? Because you need to be smacked for that. I don't know. It turns out there's not a limit, though, to make a full booth. Like, we were once next to a dude that was just spray painted, like...
Handguns.
Not...
Or, like...
Handguns. You make it sound like crazy.
Like, what is it, Nerf guns?
It was like Nerf guns and water guns.
Yeah.
Just spray painted, and badly spray painted, too. And just black, not like... somebody painted up really nice prop. No. Like, and whatever you're visualizing in your head when we said that, it's less nice than that.
Yeah.
Like, just take, like, 50% niceness off of it.
Like, you could still smell the paint because they were not dry.
Oh, we both had headaches. So, like, it turns out you can fill a booth with, like, all kinds of stuff. Your mom was the one who would say things. Like, my mom would say stuff, like, not in front of people because, again, like, there's a limit. Yeah, me too. I feel like some of that stuff is a little less now because, it's so easy and anyone can get online and buy that stuff, right? But no, I agree with you. I feel that way about some of the toy sellers and stuff. Like, I think there's a place for toy sellers and collectible sellers and long box dealers and stuff, but I think you can get too much of exactly the same mix of stuff and it makes the con feel small and boring. But yeah. Like, that's why I do think there's an art to setting up, like, a really good con floor. Not only, like, with the layout being good, but also, like, getting the right mix of booths and people in those booths. Like, that's... I would imagine that's a difficult task. And I'm always really impressed when cons get it right. Because I think if you get it right, then you don't even notice it. It's one of those things that, like, people don't think about unless it's wrong. So, like, the better job they do, the less people notice that they're doing a great job at it.
There we go.
Dude, I thought that the Asian celebration had that rule for, like, forever ago. Like, that was one of the reasons we never tried to go.
Yep.
Was because our stuff really isn't... I mean, there's cross-cultural pollination. Like, Dane likes some stuff that is Asian, and probably some of that, like, filters in somewhere, but that didn't feel like enough. Like... You know things about things.
I mean, do we?
I know things about some
I draw pictures
things.
for a living. I don't know about knowing things.
I think I have more feelings about things than knowing about things. Because it's easy to feel about things. But I'm aware that I have feelings versus thoughts. Sometimes. There's a lot of people that think their feelings are facts. Feelings aren't facts. Like, my feeling like that gravy requires meat isn't a fact, it's a feeling.
How do you feel about having one big floor but then having a separate section that doesn't line up for, like, artists as opposed to just... So, like, a gallery type setting?
Or do you mean, like... Well, a lot of places have Artist Alley and the show floor. And then... The cons that I consider the good cons, like the best cons, will subdivide their con floor. So, like...
And have a distinct...
Right. So they'll have neighborhoods. So like at Emerald City, and who knows, like God knows what we're gonna have the next time we actually have a con in place. But in the past in Emerald City, like our booth, because we have a full booth, they have Artist Alley, but then there's a bunch of us that we have enough shit that doesn't really fit. And so we have booths. And our booths were in a neighborhood with all other artists. Or groups of artists. So, like, and some of them you probably know. Like, I'm relatively sure you know Christine.
Kiki Doodle?
Kiki Doodle. Like, there was a whole neighborhood and a bunch of booths of us. And it was all, again, it was, like, artists. So, we had bigger spaces, but, like, it wasn't some long box guy. It was all artists selling our stuff, right? And then in another section, they had, like, a couple of, like, they had the book sellers. And then another, like, they tried to separate the floor off. And San Diego Comic-Con does that to a much greater extent.
Yeah.
And I like that. I think that actually is really nice.
Neighborhoods are nice.
I think neighborhoods are great. My understanding is that there are long box dealers and toy vendors that hate it.
Yeah.
But
because they think they benefit when they're not directly next to their competition, which they might, but
I think there'd be a way to benefit even being right across from your competition. But then again, I want to be across from my guess what is my competition. I don't consider it competition, but yeah, well, that's the thing too. Like, and I feel like etiquette, like I feel like we benefit from that. Are you going to take off? Show me the buttons to hit. Or you could just text me later. I think you have my like my Twitter feed.
Yeah, we got to get off here because
we got to get food.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
you guys can talk to each other on Twitter and Facebook.
Twitter me because I have feelings.
She does have
so
feelings.
many feelings. Me and my opinions. Sorry.
So yeah, we'll be back tomorrow night with some sort of game nonsense. Probably.
Maybe. I have this headache. Man, this headache is not going away.
Yeah, I'm starting to get one too.
I'm less sneezy, but I have a headache again.
Headaches aren't great.
I don't like it.
Anyway.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us, Eddie.
Yeah, thanks.
And
anybody else who's still here.
Or anyone
Thank
that
you.
comes in and re-listens later. Sorry you got all the opinions today.
Opinion. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.